Hello, and welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Fatchett, and this is another Nerdlet episode, one of our quick little micro episodes talking about the more technical aspects of photography. And this episode, we'll be talking about camera lens filters. What are they, and what are they used for? Now, these are not the kind of filters that you would see in an app like Instagram that you just, slap a look kind of onto your photo. Though there's a reason they call them filters because they sometimes serve similar purposes. What do you use a lens filter for? Well, they can protect your lens, they can correct or enhance color, they can help ensure accurate exposure, or they can add impact to your images. A few different kinds of camera lens filters. First, we're going to start out with what are considered kind of the protective lens filters, UV and skylight filters. The reason they're called protective is because a lot of photographers just use them to protect the front element of their lens against things like moisture, water, dirt, sand, and scratches, or just damage in general. I once had a guy swing a pipe they were using to put together something at a wedding, and it went underneath the lens hood of my 70 to 200 and just smashed the UV filter that was attached to it. But luckily, my lens was okay, and I could still use it throughout the day because I'm not getting that lens fixed while I'm at a wedding. So we saved that. That definitely served its purpose. Um, what do UV and skylight filters do? UV filters are used to prevent UV light from causing haze or fogginess in your images. Um, and skylight filters are kind of considered are used for when you're shooting outside under a clear blue sky, or even inside with just window light from a clear blue sky, because they can reduce the excessive sort of blue cast that sometimes appears in those photos when you're shooting outside under that clear blue sky. They can also help keep skin tones of your subject free from color reflections or casts from objects that are around them. Like if you're shooting next to, a very green, leafy sort of vegetation, and sometimes you can end up with that sort of green cast on people's skin. So that's something to keep in mind. However, skylight filters can intensify lens flares and reduce your image contrast. So keep that in mind. Next kind of filter, polarizing filters. These are similar to sunglasses in that they add depth to your image by saturating the color and reducing reflections. So they actually change the color a bit. They increase the saturation. These filters include a circular polarizing filters, especially they have a rotating mount. So once it's attached to your lens, you can turn it and twist it and look through your viewfinder or live view and see how it just sort of changes as you turn it, like, and increases the intensity of the polarization aspect of it. You can use these to shoot through windows, to reduce the glare or reflections. So if you're shooting through glass, you use them sometimes when I'm, shooting at a wedding and whatever, and you want to shoot through the glass of a in a car, or when people are inside a building, whatever, and you don't want the reflection, so you use a polarizing filter. And also when you're shooting outside and you want the sky to be really bright, and or want to be really deeply saturated, they're good for that. So they're really great for lots of different kinds of photography. Next type of filter, neutral density filters. ND filters are dark colored glass that reduces the amount of light that comes into the lens and hits your sensor or film, but it does not in any way affect the color of the image. And you can still use your camera's metering system and focusing system. It's just fine once you attach this filter. But by reducing all that incoming light, it allows you to shoot at slower shutter speeds without overexposing an image when you have like super bright conditions, like when you're shooting with flash, like off camera flash, or you're shooting landscape photography and you want to shoot things like moving water. If you're watching a river or a waterfall, have you ever seen those images where like the water looks so creamy and, just dramatically blurred out and looks almost like glass? That's because people are using an ND filter to take a really long exposure without blowing out the highlights of that image, and it just looks beautiful. So that's a neutral density filter they're using, and there are different kinds. There are just ones that have it's a dark piece of glass. There are graduated neutral density filters that have like they're dark gray on one side and clear on another, and they can either have like a hard edge or like a gradation that slowly appears, or they're also variable neutral density filters. So as you turn it, it gets darker and darker and darker. So if you don't want to have a bunch of different filters, that's good for that. Then there are color correcting filters. That's our next kind. The color correcting, which you are generally used when you're shooting indoors or there's different kinds of light, whether it's, you know, fluorescent or tungsten or whatever it is, it controls that and gets rid of that color cast that can happen with different types of light. And finally, there are special effects filters. I'm sure if you're a photographer and you're on social media, you've seen these like prism lens ones. There's all sorts of like there's infrared filters, sort of kaleidoscope filters and diffusion filters, all kinds of filters. So now that you have an idea of what these filters are used for, get out there, try them out, use them, enjoy them. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, please subscribe, tell a friend, and follow The Nerdy Photographer on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit at The Nerdy Photo. That is at The Nerdy Photo. Again, tell your friends. And until next time, stay safe and stay nerdy.
Hey there, this is Frankie Sparks.
And this is Sky Eisenberg.
We are Shoot the Flick.
Yes, an official Paradoja podcast.
Every Wednesday, Scott and I introduce each other to a brand spanking new movie that the other one has never seen. We talk about it, give our thoughts on it, and also share some behind-the-scenes fun facts.
We want you guys to come enjoy watching the movie with us.
Yes, so check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Shoot the Flick. Check out our weekly episodes every single Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere else you can find a podcast.
We hope you guys give us a listen soon.
Bye!